The grand hall of the intergalactic auction was alive with activity. Traders and collectors from across the galaxy moved between hovering platforms, examining ships that shimmered under the soft lights. Some ships were sleek and elegant, with smooth curves and delicate designs, while others were massive and intimidating, packed with the latest technology. The air hummed with excitement and chatter, and occasional flashes of alien languages collided in a chaotic symphony. In the middle of all this, a small, young human named Aaron stepped carefully, his eyes wide with wonder. Unlike the aliens, who towered over him with long limbs, extra eyes, or shining exoskeletons, Aaron was small, wiry, and surprisingly determined. He had come to this auction with a simple goal: find a ship. Not just any ship, but one that felt alive, one that could be more than a machine. He wandered past the stalls, admiring the shiny models displayed in glass cases. Ships with self-cleaning hulls, ships that could fold into a tiny cube, ships that could travel vast distances without refueling. These were all impressive, but none of them called to him. Most of the alien bidders were focused on flashy features, speed, or strength. Aaron's mind, however, was drawn to something different, something unusual. Then, at the far end of the hall, he saw it. The ship was tucked away in a shadowy corner, almost hidden from view. Its hull was dark, angular, and looked aggressive, almost as if it had teeth. Spikes ran along the sides and strange engines hummed quietly, giving the impression that the ship was restless, waiting for something. Other bidders had passed it by, whispering warnings to each other about how dangerous it looked. Unstable, one said. Too aggressive, another warned. Who would dare try to control it? Aaron's heart raced. Where others saw danger, he saw opportunity. Something about the ship felt alive, like it had a mind of its own, waiting for someone who understood it. He approached the auction clerk, an alien with translucent skin and 7 eyes who eyed him curiously. "Are you interested in this model?" the clerk asked. "It's very advanced, but it's also known for being aggressive and unpredictable." Aaron nodded firmly. "I want it." "I'll bid." The clerk raised an eyebrow. "A human, bold. Very well, the bidding starts now." The auction began. Aliens with long claws raised holographic paddles, their voices mixing in rapid sequences of numbers and symbols. The price started low, but soon it climbed as curious onlookers placed small bids, more for amusement than actual interest. The ship had a reputation, after all, and none wanted to risk it. Aaron, despite being young and inexperienced, stayed calm. He had saved carefully for this moment. When the bidding slowed and others hesitated, he raised his hand. His bid was modest but decisive. Silence fell for a moment. The aliens looked at each other, puzzled. A human, a small, fragile species, wanted this feared ship. The auctioneer tapped a control. Sold to the human. The hall erupted in murmurs and whispers. Some laughed, some were impressed, many were confused. Aaron simply smiled. He had done it. The ship was now his. The following day, Aaron returned to the auction hall to collect his prize. The ship sat in the corner where he had seen it first, humming quietly as if aware of his presence. Its dark hull gleamed under the soft lights, and the engines pulsed with a subtle rhythm. Aaron ran his hand along the hull, feeling a vibration that made his heart skip a beat. "This is going to be amazing," he whispered. But getting the ship wasn't the end of his journey. It was only the beginning. As he climbed aboard, he realized how complex the controls were. Buttons, levers, holographic screens, and strange symbols covered every surface. Aaron had never seen technology like this, even in the human spaceports he had visited. The ship seemed almost alive, reacting to his presence with faint hums and subtle shifts. He spent hours exploring the cockpit, trying to understand how it worked. Some systems were intuitive, others seemed to resist his input as if testing him. He wasn't afraid. Instead, he felt a spark of excitement. "If I can understand you," he said softly, "we'll be unstoppable together." Outside, the aliens watched as the small human began his private inspection. Some shook their heads. "It will never work," one whispered. "Humans cannot control something like that." But Aaron ignored them. He had always believed humans could do extraordinary things. His species was small, fragile compared to many others, but humans had something others often lacked: imagination, courage, and persistence. And he intended to prove it. Over the next few days, Aaron worked tirelessly. He started by mapping the ship's basic systems: propulsion, navigation, communication. He noticed patterns, little quirks that the ship had, like how certain panels glowed faintly when touched, or how some engines adjusted themselves when he applied a specific pressure. He spoke to it quietly, encouraging it, explaining what he intended to do. The ship seemed to respond, almost as if it understood. One evening, after hours of trial and error, Aaron discovered something extraordinary. The ship's main engine, which had always seemed aggressive and unstable, began to hum smoothly when he spoke calmly. Controls that had been resistant now followed his input perfectly. It was as if the ship was learning from him, adapting to his style. Aaron's eyes shone with excitement. "You're not just a machine," he said. "You're alive, and together we can go farther than anyone else." Word of the human and the aggressive ship began to spread through the auction hall and the nearby trade sectors. Aliens who had once laughed were now curious. Some watched from a distance as the small human moved confidently across the ship's deck, adjusting controls and observing readings. Others whispered that perhaps humans were not as weak as they had thought. But for Aaron, it didn't matter what the others thought. He cared about the ship and the adventure ahead. He spent days testing minor systems, charting nearby star routes, and learning how to communicate with the ship's AI core. And the more time he spent aboard, the more he felt a connection, a silent understanding that this ship and he were meant to be partners. Finally, the day came when Aaron decided it was time for a proper test flight. The nearby asteroid belt provided the perfect challenge, dangerous to unprepared ships, but safe enough for a careful explorer. Aaron took a deep breath and initiated the engines. The ship shuddered at first, as if waking fully for the first time, then settled into a steady, powerful rhythm. As they lifted off, the stars stretched into streaks around them and the asteroid field approached. Aaron felt a thrill run through him. This was more than a test. It was the start of a journey, the first step toward showing the galaxy what humans could do. And somewhere deep within the ship, a subtle glow pulsed, like the heartbeat of a creature finally free to move. Aaron grinned. "Let us show them," he whispered. "Let's show them all." The asteroid field had been a simple test for Aaron, but it revealed more than just the ship's raw power. As the small human floated above the rocky belt, he noticed the ship moving almost with a mind of its own. It avoided rocks that he hadn't even registered, shifting with perfect balance, and its sensors seemed to anticipate obstacles before they appeared. Back on the workshop planet, a small, quiet place tucked between larger trade stations, Aaron spent the following days exploring every inch of the ship. He called it Shadowfang, after the sharp lines on its hull that resembled a predator's teeth. Shadowfang seemed almost pleased with the name, a soft vibration running through the control panels whenever Aaron said it aloud. The first challenge was understanding the ship's controls. They were unlike any human technology he had ever encountered. Buttons, levers, holographic touchpads, and symbols floated in the air, constantly shifting, almost like the ship was testing him. At first, he pressed random buttons, hoping something would happen. Most of the time, nothing did, and sometimes the ship's engines shivered as if annoyed. But Aaron was patient. He had learned long ago that patience was one of the human species' greatest strengths. Sitting cross-legged on the floor of the cockpit, he observed the panels for hours, taking careful notes in a small notebook. He noticed that certain symbols glowed faintly when his fingers hovered nearby, and that some levers responded only when moved slowly. Shadowfang seemed to be teaching him, guiding his hands, testing his understanding. One evening, Aaron discovered the ship's hidden compartments. A small panel slid open when he pressed a combination of buttons he hadn't even considered important. Inside, he found tools, repair kits, and a tiny holographic assistant, a small floating AI that introduced itself with a soft chime. "Hello, pilot," the AI said in a calm voice, its holographic form shimmering like liquid light. "I am the Shadow Core. How may I assist you?" Aaron smiled, feeling a thrill. "I'm Aaron, and I think you can help me make Shadowfang the best ship in the galaxy." The AI's voice softened, almost as if amused. "An ambitious goal. I will try to adapt to your commands, but Shadowfang is particular." Aaron laughed. "I don't mind particular. I like challenges." Over the next several days, Aaron and Shadow Core began to explore the ship's abilities together. He discovered that Shadowfang could adjust its engines to match his piloting style, making the ship respond more naturally to his commands. Its sensors were extraordinary, able to detect energy fluctuations, gravitational fields, and even subtle vibrations in space that most ships couldn't perceive. Most fascinating of all, the ship seemed to have a personality. When Aaron spoke softly, encouragingly, the panels glowed gently and the engines hummed in response. When he grew frustrated or impatient, the ship resisted, refusing to execute certain commands. It was as if Shadowfang wanted a true partnership, not just a pilot. One morning, Aaron stood on the observation deck, staring out at the planet's ringed horizon. "You know," he said to the ship, "most people probably thought I couldn't control you, but I think we're just getting started." The ship responded with a soft pulse through the floor, almost like a nod. As days passed, Aaron began experimenting with advanced systems. He discovered that Shadowfang could self-repair minor damage automatically, using stored materials in hidden compartments. He also found that it could store energy efficiently, adapting to the type of fuel or power source it was given. One afternoon, he tested the communication arrays, hoping to understand how the ship interacted with other vessels. Shadowfang hummed softly and created a network of holographic signals, translating alien languages almost instantly. Aaron realized that not only could Shadowfang defend itself, but it could understand and connect with other ships in ways no human or alien had imagined. Excited, Aaron decided it was time for a bigger challenge. He plotted a course to the asteroid maze, a dense and dangerous cluster of rocks in nearby space. He wanted to see if Shadowfang could handle obstacles on a larger scale. Before takeoff, he spoke to the AI. "Shadow Core, are you ready?" "I am always ready, pilot," the AI replied. The engines roared softly as the ship lifted off. Aaron gripped the controls, feeling the hum of the ship beneath him. As they approached the maze, he realized something extraordinary. Shadowfang wasn't just avoiding obstacles, it was anticipating them. Rocks shifted and tumbled as if giving way to the ship's path. Aaron didn't give direct commands. Instead, he guided with subtle adjustments and the ship responded instantly. After several tense moments, they emerged from the asteroid maze unscathed. Aaron laughed in delight, exhilarated. "You're incredible," he said. "We're really working together." The AI's holographic form pulsed gently. "Indeed, pilot, our efficiency is improving rapidly." Word of Aaron and Shadowfang's success began to spread. Other aliens who had dismissed the human were now curious, watching from afar as the small human piloted the aggressive ship with ease. Some whispered among themselves, amazed that a human could form such a bond with a vessel no one else dared touch. But Aaron didn't seek attention. He was focused on learning and improving. Each day brought new discoveries. He learned that Shadowfang had compartments for exploration drones, tiny scout ships that could gather data from dangerous areas without risk. He discovered that the ship could camouflage itself in space, blending into nebulae and starfields. Every new system revealed a combination of power, intelligence, and adaptability. One evening, as he floated in the observation deck staring at distant stars, Aaron thought about why he had been able to succeed where others had failed. It wasn't just intelligence. It was curiosity, empathy, and persistence. Where aliens had feared the ship, Aaron had seen potential. Where others had been impatient, he had been patient. And where others had relied on brute force, he had relied on understanding. Shadowfang pulsed softly beneath his feet, and he smiled. "We're going to change what people think about humans, aren't we?" the AI responded. "They will understand eventually. Your methods are unique and effective." As part 2 drew to a close, Aaron faced his next decision. It was time to explore beyond familiar space, to test Shadowfang in scenarios that no human had attempted before. He knew there would be challenges, obstacles, and maybe even danger, but he felt ready. Shadowfang had become more than a ship. It was a partner, a friend, and a testament to what humans could achieve when they combined courage, intelligence, and empathy. Aaron powered up the ship for a journey beyond the known space lanes. The stars stretched out before him, and the AI pulsed in readiness. Together, they were no longer a human and a machine. They were a team, unstoppable, unique, and ready to prove that humans could achieve extraordinary things. And somewhere deep inside Shadowfang, a gentle pulse of light shimmered, as if agreeing with him. The adventure was just beginning. Aaron had grown more confident in his abilities and in Shadowfang's responsiveness. The ship was no longer unpredictable. It now moved like an extension of his own thoughts. He could feel the hum of the engines beneath him, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. Yet, for all their practice in asteroid fields and test flights, Aaron knew that the galaxy was far more unpredictable. It was time for a bigger test, a challenge that would push both human and ship to their limits. The challenge came in the form of the Crystalline Nebula, a vast cloud of energy and ice crystals drifting in deep space. Navigation within the nebula was notoriously tricky. Sensors often misread the refracted light, and engines could be overloaded by strange energy currents. Most alien pilots avoided the nebula entirely, but Aaron saw it as the perfect opportunity. He activated the engines, feeling Shadowfang stir with anticipation. "Ready?" he asked the AI. "We are ready, pilot. Navigation systems optimized for unknown variables." "Probability of safe passage, 87%, Aaron smiled. "Let's aim for 100%. The ship surged forward, its hull cutting through the dark expanse. At first, the nebula seemed calm, a serene mix of sparkling crystals and faint auroras. But as they entered deeper, the energy fields grew unstable. Sensors flickered, and holographic panels displayed rapid calculations of currents, gravitational distortions, and energy anomalies. Aaron guided Shadowfang slowly, letting the ship's instincts and AI work in tandem with his own decisions. Every movement was precise. The ship shifted and twisted through the nebula, dodging invisible currents that would have thrown other vessels off course. "Beautiful," Aaron whispered, watching the crystals refract light into dancing patterns across the cockpit. Shadowfang responded, pulsing softly in acknowledgement. Suddenly, a massive cluster of crystals moved into their path. The ship's sensors registered a dangerous energy spike. Aaron felt a twinge of fear, but only for a moment. Humans were built to face challenges with creativity, he reminded himself. "Shadow Core, adjust engines to harmonic phase," he commanded. "We'll ride the currents instead of fighting them." The AI processed his instruction, and the ship responded instantly. Shadowfang's engines hummed at a new frequency, vibrations syncing with the surrounding energy. The ship moved with surprising grace, weaving between massive crystals with a fluid motion. Aaron's heart raced with exhilaration. They passed the cluster safely, and for the first time, Aaron truly felt the ship's intelligence as more than programming. It was as if Shadowfang was thinking alongside him, responding before he even finished giving instructions. Emerging from the nebula's core, Aaron marveled at the sight. Stars glittered beyond the mist, and the ship's hull gleamed against the glowing crystals. He laughed, unable to contain his joy. "We did it, Shadowfang. We're unstoppable." The AI's voice was calm but tinged with pride. "Our performance exceeded expectations, pilot. Human intuition proves invaluable in unknown environments." Aaron felt a surge of pride. He knew that humans were often underestimated. In a galaxy filled with enormous, powerful species, humans were small, fragile, and often overlooked. Yet, it was their ingenuity, courage, and adaptability that allowed them to achieve the impossible. After leaving the nebula, Aaron decided to explore further. There were rumors of a derelict research station on a distant planet, abandoned for centuries. Many believed it was haunted or dangerous, so no one had attempted to investigate. But Aaron saw an opportunity to learn and discover. The journey was long, and he used it to study Shadowfang's systems even more deeply. He experimented with its energy storage, its AI responsiveness, and even its capacity to analyze unknown materials. Shadowfang's hidden scanners could detect traces of rare elements in asteroids, meteorites, and planetary surfaces. Aaron realized that the ship was more than a vessel. It was a partner in exploration, capable of achieving feats no other ship could. When they finally approached the abandoned station, it loomed large against the dark horizon. Rusted hulls, broken antennae, and floating debris suggested neglect, but Aaron felt no fear. He trusted Shadowfang completely. "Docking sequence, please," he said. "Sequence ready, pilot. Proceed with caution," the AI replied. The ship's magnetic grapples latched onto the station's docking ports. Aaron floated into the corridor, his small human body moving gracefully in the low gravity. The station was silent, but sensors showed signs of energy flow in some sections, remnants of the station's AI still functioning. As Aaron explored, he discovered old logs and schematics, data long forgotten by the galaxy. Shadowfang scanned and stored everything, its systems analyzing and translating alien languages that humans had never encountered before. "This is amazing," Aaron said aloud. "We're learning things no one else has seen in centuries." The station's AI activated, a holographic figure flickering to life. "Unauthorized presence detected," it warned. Aaron smiled. "We come in peace," he said calmly. "We only seek knowledge." The AI paused and then, as if recognizing Aaron's sincerity, it relented. "Processing, permission granted. Limited access to archives." Shadowfang's AI interfaced with the station's systems, and together, human and ship began uncovering long-lost research. They found maps of uncharted sectors, records of extinct species, and data on rare energy sources. Aaron realized that his small, overlooked human mind, combined with Shadowfang's unique abilities, allowed them to unlock secrets that others had ignored for centuries. Word of their discovery soon spread across trade routes. Aliens who had once doubted humans now whispered with respect. Small humans, previously considered weak and fragile, had accomplished what massive, powerful species had avoided. Aaron didn't seek recognition, but the story of the human and the aggressive ship was slowly becoming legend. Back aboard Shadowfang, Aaron reflected on what had been achieved. He could feel the ship's subtle vibrations, almost like it was content. "We're making a difference," he said softly, "not with force but with understanding, courage, and clever thinking." The AI agreed. Humans are uniquely capable of turning challenges into opportunities. This combination of traits is exceptional. Aaron smiled, realizing that this was the essence of HFY. Humans, despite their small size and fragility, had resilience, curiosity, and creativity that allowed them to achieve greatness. Shadowfang was a proof of that philosophy, a vessel that had seemed dangerous and uncontrollable but was now unstoppable under human guidance. As Part 3 drew to a close, Aaron plotted a course beyond the current sector. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries and unknown paths. There were new challenges to face, strange anomalies to explore, and secrets waiting to be uncovered. And he knew, deep in his heart, that together with Shadowfang, there was nothing they could not achieve. "Ready for the next adventure?" he asked. The ship pulsed, engines vibrating in response. "Always, pilot." And with that, the human and his extraordinary ship soared into the stars, leaving trails of shimmering light across the dark void. The galaxy was watching now, and soon it would understand that humans, small but fearless, could change everything. After weeks of exploring the nebula and the abandoned research station, Aaron felt a growing excitement. Shadowfang was no longer just a ship. It had become a partner, a friend, and an extension of his own mind. Together, they had navigated impossible asteroid fields, danced through energy currents in the crystalline nebula, and uncovered secrets that had been lost for centuries. Yet there was one place left where Aaron wanted to test their progress: the intergalactic hub, the very auction hall where he had first acquired Shadowfang. Once, aliens had laughed at him for daring to bid on the aggressive ship. Now he wanted them to see what humans and Shadowfang could truly achieve. The journey to the hub was smooth. Aaron guided Shadowfang along a course that passed through sparkling asteroid belts and quiet, glowing nebulae. The AI hummed softly beside him, analyzing routes and ensuring maximum efficiency. Aaron marveled at how far they had come. "We've learned so much together," he said, "and now it's time for others to see it too." When they arrived at the hub, the familiar sight of hovering auction platforms and alien traders greeted them. But this time, the hall was different. Word of Aaron's exploits had spread, and a small crowd had gathered, curious to witness the human and the ship that no one else had dared to control. Whispers ran through the crowd. "A human." With that ship. The ship's hull glinted under the lights, reflecting the stunned faces of traders, collectors, and dignitaries from countless worlds. For a moment, silence filled the space, broken only by the gentle hum of Shadowfang's engines. Then slowly, the murmurs grew into astonished chatter. Many aliens who had doubted humans now looked with respect, their earlier skepticism replaced by admiration. Some even approached cautiously, observing the smooth curves, the sleek control panels, and the subtle aura of intelligence surrounding the ship. Aaron stepped out, small but confident. "This is Shadowfang," he said simply, gesturing to the ship. "We've explored, learned, and discovered together, and I think it's time the galaxy sees what humans can do." To demonstrate the ship's abilities, Aaron initiated a series of maneuvers. Shadowfang responded instantly, performing intricate rotations, hovering with perfect balance, and weaving through holographic obstacles that the auction hall had set up. Every movement was precise, elegant, and coordinated, a testament to the synergy between human and ship. The audience watched in awe. Even the most powerful and experienced alien pilots could not match Shadowfang's efficiency. It was not brute force that impressed them, but adaptability, intelligence, and creativity, traits humans possessed in abundance. One trader whispered to another, "I thought humans were weak, but that is something else entirely." Aaron smiled quietly, focusing not on praise but on demonstrating what he and Shadowfang had achieved. They moved seamlessly together, a single entity navigating complex challenges with ease. Next, Aaron accessed Shadowfang's holographic interface, projecting discoveries from the abandoned research station. Charts of uncharted sectors, translations of alien logs, and maps of rare energy sources appeared in midair. The audience leaned closer, their previous doubts replaced with fascination. "This," Aaron said, "is what happens when humans approach challenges with patience, curiosity, and creativity. We don't just react, we learn, adapt, and improve. Shadowfang is amazing, but together we're unstoppable." The aliens exchanged glances, some nodding in quiet approval. They had underestimated humans for too long, thinking size, strength, or firepower defined capability. But Aaron and Shadowfang had shown that intelligence, determination, and partnership were just as powerful, perhaps even more so. A group of dignitaries approached, speaking in a language Aaron barely recognized. Shadow Core translated automatically, allowing him to understand. "We wish to commend you, human. Your actions demonstrate qualities we have long overlooked in your species. Your courage, innovation, and partnership with Shadowfang are exemplary." Aaron bowed politely. "Thank you. I don't seek recognition. I only wanted to explore, learn, and understand." The aliens seemed impressed. They had expected arrogance or bravado, but instead, they found humility, focus, and intelligence. Once again, humans had proven that they could achieve greatness not through intimidation, but through thought, patience, and empathy. After the recognition, Aaron spent time showing Shadowfang's unique features. The ship could analyze unknown substances, repair itself, adapt energy systems for efficiency, and even communicate with other ships in complex ways. Alien pilots who had once dismissed Shadowfang now asked to observe, to understand, to learn. Aaron explained calmly, "Shadowfang is not just a ship, it's a partner. It responds to guidance, creativity, and patience, not aggression or force. That's why we succeed where others fail." The crowd nodded, understanding dawning. Humans were small, fragile, and underestimated, but their resourcefulness, courage, and intelligence made them extraordinary. Shadowfang, once feared and rejected, had become a symbol of human potential. As the day came to an end, Aaron prepared for the next phase of their journey. Shadowfang had proven itself. The galaxy had taken notice, and yet the horizon called. There were still mysteries, new sectors, and discoveries waiting in deep space. "Are you ready, Shadow Core?" he asked. "Always, pilot," the AI replied. Aaron smiled, feeling the familiar hum of the engines beneath his hands. "Let's go. There's a galaxy out there that hasn't seen what we can do yet." With that, Shadowfang lifted off gracefully, leaving trails of light across the dark sky. The hub slowly faded behind them as they soared toward the unknown, the stars stretching into brilliant streaks. Aaron felt a thrill of anticipation. Every planet, nebula, and star system held new secrets, challenges, and wonders, and he was ready for all of it. Shadowfang pulsed softly in response, a silent affirmation of their partnership. Together, human and ship were no longer just pilot and vessel. They were explorers, innovators, and a testament to the potential of their species. For the first time, Aaron realized that humans didn't need to be the strongest, the largest, or the most intimidating. All they needed was curiosity, courage, and the determination to make the impossible possible. And with Shadowfang by his side, Aaron knew they could go anywhere, learn anything, and inspire the galaxy to look at humans in a whole new way. The stars ahead shimmered with possibility. Beyond the hub, beyond familiar space, lay worlds no one had charted, nebulae no one had mapped, and mysteries that had waited for centuries. Aaron tightened his grip on the controls, a small smile on his face. "Let's show them, Shadowfang. Let's explore everything, discover everything, and prove what humans can do." The ship's engines pulsed stronger, almost in agreement. Together, they vanished into the vast expanse of space, leaving behind the echoes of doubt and fear, and carrying with them the promise of adventure, discovery, and human ingenuity. In that moment, the galaxy understood something it had never realized before. Humans, small but fearless, could achieve greatness in ways no one had imagined. And Shadowfang, once rejected and feared, was living proof. The journey had only just begun.